What is going on, friends? Welcome into this episode of Sports from the Couch. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. On today's episode, we talk about Kareem Hunt, the Bulls firing Fred Hoiberg, everything that was this week in the NFL. The Bears fall to the Giants in overtime. A huge fight in the boxing world. UFC coming up with a big card and so much more on this episode of Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves.
You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex.
Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
It's another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support. So on Monday morning, a little bit after 8:30, it started trickling down all over the news cycle that the Chicago Bulls have let go their coach, Fred Hoiberg, who had a record of 115 and 155, and after a dismal 15-19 start to the season, it's the end of his tenure here in the Chicago Bulls as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. But I think something even more important than this is another coach that John Paxson and Gar Forman not only get to fire, but another coach they're bringing in Jim Boylan, who, by all accounts, isn't the interim head coach now. He's the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. They made it a point in the press conference that he is the head coach of this team and more than likely the head coach of the team next year. So I'm going to break this down a little bit by little bit, and we're going to kind of just see where it goes, because this story and this whole organization really has me a little flustered right now. And you guys know me if you listen to us throughout any episode of Sports to the Couch. I try to keep everything pretty even keel and keep it in the realm of sports. It is only sports. But with that in mind, if you just looked at this as a business, what are they doing? So let's start from this, right? How is it Fred Hoiberg's fault that this is the same front office that said, we're going to get younger, we're going to get more athletic, and drafted Denzel Valentine from Michigan State? The man has knees that a 50-year-old YMCA basketball legend has. Are you kidding me? You're going to bring in Rajon Rondo? And I'm a Rondo fan, but younger and more athletic? You want to spread the court out? You want to shoot three-pointers? You're going to bring in Dwayne Wade? Come on now. You're giving him a hurt Derrick Rose to start his tenure? A prima donna Jimmy Butler? And I'm not even the biggest Jimmy fan, but even I have to admit, he carried his weight at that point, but Fred was a dead man walking when it came to those egos and those personalities. So then you say we're going to start this rebuild, right? Fine. But then Nikola Mirotic comes in and you win 8 out of 11 games and completely ruin your draft stock. That's his fault? You couldn't make the deal to get rid of him. And then you have this season. You're promising him Jabari Parker, who on media day tells you he's not going to play defense. So when you bring in a guy who's making $20 million and he's telling you he's not going to play defense, that's the coach's fault? He's coming in telling you that. You already paid the man. Then your star, who you're banking to be your starting Larry Markkinen, is hurt in the beginning of the season. Doesn't have Zach LaVine all of last season with the torn ACL. His try-hard point guard, out. His try-hard sixth man, out. Who have they given this man? And this is the most frustrating thing about this front office, is that they're making you defend Fred Hoiberg, who is a bad NBA coach. But that would not be the issue if we did not see this with Vinny Del Negro, Scott Skiles, Tom Thibodeau. This organization from the top is a mess. John Paxson has the nerve to go out today in front of the media and talk about energy. Are you kidding me? What energy? What about the talent? Energy. You guys don't have a winning culture. You don't have a winning roster. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And yet the United Center is always filled up. Why? Because the big LED screen shows you some cool colors. Are you kidding me? If this was any other franchise in this city, burn it down. What are they doing? I think I'm a pretty smart basketball fan. I don't know everything. I don't stay up to watch every single West Coast game every single night. But what are they doing with their roster? What is the plan? And this is the kicker, right? This is the kicker about this whole thing, is that they'll fool people. They'll have a decent draft. Because every once in a while, they'll find themselves a nice little player in the draft. But what superstar have they drafted that didn't land on their lap with the number one pick? What superstar free agent did they bring in that wasn't the second tier that year? Doesn't exist, right? Where did LeBron James go? Where did Chris Bosh go? Where did Dwayne Wade go? Where did Tracy McGrady go? Did Kobe Bryant come to the Chicago Bulls? Kevin Garnett ended up in Boston, and they get away with it every single season. And this is so, it's fascinating because this front office has only won one conference game, not a conference series. They've never won the Eastern Conference. They've never been to the NBA Finals, let alone win a Finals game, let alone win the NBA Finals. But they strut around here and they act as if they've done something. But yet, look at what's going on in that same stadium with the Blackhawks. An organization that won 3 Stanley Cups in 10 years. Got rid of the coach, trying to make some moves around there. What is the plan? Again, it will happen this year. They're going to get Larry Markkinen. They just got him back. They're going to get Chris Dunn back. They're going to get Bobby Portis back. And they're going to win a couple games because the Eastern Conference is horrible. And they're going to get out of that bottom tier for the number 1 draft pick. And we know this front office isn't creative enough to make an offseason trade. That's the thing too, is you see some of these other front offices like Danny Ainge did in Boston, or what they're doing in Los Angeles, where they're able to finesse and make these moves ahead of time. They're able to get ahead of the curve and land that big superstar. You don't think right now Boston and the Knicks are working to get Kevin Durant from Golden State? But for 1 second, you think the Bulls have thought of anything like that? Absolutely not. Because guess what? You know what saves your job? Being a 6th, 5th, or 4th seed in the Eastern Conference every single year. Can't win championships, though. Too much pressure on you to win every single year. If this was Apple, if this was Microsoft, these guys will be gone. And again, and that's the thing that upsets me, is I'm not even one of these guys that goes on the radio show and says, you got to fire this guy. You got to get rid of this guy's job. I don't want anybody to get fired. I don't want anybody to lose any money. But when you're doing a bad job, when you haven't performed, when you sell these tickets for so much money, when it's impossible to take your family to these games, and then you're penny pinching these players who are bringing in these fans, and then you're going to put that product out there, and then you're going to go on the radio and television and say that garbage that John Paxson had to say, makes you appreciate Theo Epstein and the Cubs, and even Ryan Pace over with the Bears. Hell, even Rick Hahn. And it's the same ownership. White Sox fans, look at it. I know, I've covered it, but I don't know how White Sox fans have been able to deal with this. But at the very least, it seems like Jerry Reinsdorf loves the White Sox. And I think he said it before. He would trade in all the NBA Finals for another World Series. I think there is some love there. I don't know what's going on with this Bulls team. It just doesn't seem like anybody cares. Like, status quo is if we're in it, or if we have false hopes and fake golden, maybe, but yeah, it's horrible up there at the United Center right now. And then here's the thing about the Jim Boylen thing. Maybe Jim Boylen is the next Phil Jackson. Maybe he's the next guy, the next Steve Kerr. Maybe he's the guy that helps the Bulls become the next dynasty in the NBA. Why are you locking yourself in right now, though? Like, that to me makes no sense, period. To not only say that he's not the interim coach, but that he might be the coach next season. That is more than likely that he will. Why? Why are you closing the door? So let me ask you this. Anthony Davis wants to play for Jim Boylen? Kyrie Irving wants to play for Jim Boylen? Kemba Walker wants to play for Jim Boylen? That gets, your juices flowing to come to the Chicago Bulls? If you were a free agent, why would you come here? What would make you want to come here? If the New York Knicks, and mind you, I hate Dolan and the ownership over in the Knicks, but it's New York. It's Madison Square Garden. That's a lot to sell. What's the selling point here? Come play for Jim Boylen? Come play for a front office that will throw you under the bus as soon as it sees fit? Makes no sense. Makes no sense, and guess what? Nothing will happen to that front office. Let us know your thoughts on this whole Fred Hoiberg situation, and what are your thoughts about the front office for the Chicago Bulls? And are you angry? Are you excited? Who would you like to see become the next head coach of the Chicago Bulls, or do you think it's Jim Boylen? We got more here from Sports from the Couch here on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves.
You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex.
Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
Another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support. So as the week was coming to an end and we were all getting ready for our weekend and a week in the NFL for a lot of people, fantasy football was coming down to the end. For a lot of people in the actual NFL, a lot of teams vying for playoff positions and playoff spots to begin with, something we should be concentrating on, right? And on Friday instead, we had two stories break out of Addison Russell getting tendered by the Cubs and coming back to the organization. Up in the air still whether or not they're going to keep him, but the other big news, Kareem Hunt was released by the Kansas City Chiefs because TMZ released a video showing him kicking a woman, pushing a woman, and basically into a really nasty altercation. So let's talk about a couple things that happened in this scenario first off, right? I mean, first of all, we're still doing this. It's December of 2018, and we still have men out there who are getting into physical altercations with women. And look, I don't care whether you consider this a social justice warrior type of thing, if you consider this a snowflake thing. I live in a world, and this was way before social media and anything, I live in a world where not only do men not put their hands on women, you don't put your hands on somebody else, period. Keep your hands to yourself. It's a golden rule. We teach our children that, right? Some of these professional athletes can't get that through their head, though. Maybe it has to deal with the fact that they've never had consequences for or punishments for any of the things they've done their whole life because they were such great athletes and they were making so much money for these institutions, both high school, Pop Warner, and in college. So we have that, right? But this is a little bit multi-tiered. Let's get to why the visceral and why people were so behind this and why there was so much more stinkiness towards this opposed to Reuben Foster, who was picked up over waivers by Washington after the Niners released him after another incident. You know, we've talked about DUIs and incidents with women. Reuben Foster still finds his way into the Washington organization, right? Why does Reuben Foster find his way into a roster? Why are guys who are accused of these things allowed to continue to be represented by these organizations? And not just that, but they represent organizations themselves. It's pretty easy. There was no video. And I hate this. I hate the fact that we live in a world where I need to see a grown man, I need to see a human hurt another human physically in order to understand that it really happened. And this is the problem I have, that we live in a world now where anybody has an opinion. Not just people with microphones, not just people with, a following. Everybody has an opinion, right? So anybody at any place in the world at any given time can say, you're lying. And it doesn't matter how many facts are given to them. They could just say it, and it's no big deal. But that is why when a video like this comes out, there is no more, what's this side, what's this side. People could try to play it, well, why was she in that position? Why is she's using a racial slur? Doesn't matter. We're taught from the beginning, sticks and stones. It's the basic academia of living life. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, right? You're a millionaire. Prime of your career. You're going to sign a big contract one day. You might win the Super Bowl. The world is your oyster. And you're worried about a racial slur from a 19-year-old girl? A petite woman? We could get to that. That doesn't exclude if she was using racial slurs. You're right. That is a big deal. But you don't put your hands on people. It's as simple as that. It's literally, there's no other way to look at it, especially, and if we're going to be cynical about it and if we're going to be callous about it, especially if you're an athlete, especially if you're somebody of importance, you're not only do people look up to you, but you have responsibilities. Kansas City, who showed up big, regardless without him, just goes to show how much talent they have. To me, and here's the thing, right? A mistake is leaving your wallet at home, forgetting your cell phone, locking your keys in the car, washing the colors with the whites in the washing machine. Those are mistakes. Hitting another individual, hitting a person, being held back, being a restraint is not an accident. That's a deliberate move. You're trying to hurt somebody. So, I don't have there's no excuse to it. There's no excuse. And now this is where I also want to get to this. Let's take away for a second about Kareem Hunt, right? Because we know he was going to lie regardless. He had to. This was bad. So if the truth ever came out, he was going to be in trouble. So I want to go ahead and just read some of these facts. I actually got this from Brooke Pryor of the Kansas City Star, obviously over covering the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is what's being reported, and this is what the article mentions. That this incident in February, the police were notified this incident happened in a Cleveland hotel. And obviously the Chiefs were annoyed to learn about the incident through police reports and the press. So they have an interview with Kareem Hunt who tells him his story. And Hunt told the Chiefs that he didn't have anything to do with the altercation, that he stayed inside his room while his friends handled the situation with two women outside who wouldn't leave. But then on Friday, this past Friday, TMZ showed obviously he was lying. Instead, what we see was that Kareem Hunt shoved the 19-year-old, and Kareem Hunt was being restrained by his friend, then kicks the woman, okay? So then we have a 9-month gap in between this incident and when the Friday tape is released, okay? So why exactly is there a 9-month gap? Because apparently police reports from that night include an interview with a woman who said she was shoved and pushed by Hunt. In a 911 call, a woman said, "I was assaulted and I need help. I think his name is Kareem." There was no reference to a kick, and no other witnesses in the police report say Hunt touched a woman. no arrests were made and no charges were filed, okay? Presumably, to verify Hunt's word, in February, the Chiefs had initially pursued the video until they were told not to by the NFL, according to sources close to the team. That's the standard operating procedure of NFL investigations. Once a team reports an incident to the league takes over the investigation process, including gathering evidence and investigating and interviewing witnesses. But the NFL never spoke to Hunt or approached him after the February incident, Hunt told ESPN in a Sunday morning interview. A source close to the team was surprised to learn that the NFL didn't attempt to talk with Hunt. No one in the NFL or the Chiefs organization saw the video until it was released Friday. According to a source with knowledge of the NFL investigation, the hotel told NFL representatives that it could only give video to law enforcement under corporate policy. The NFL contacted the Cleveland Police Department, which did not provide video to the NFL, and the NFL conducted the alleged victims who did not respond to multiple messages. And here's the kicker for you guys, right? Cleveland Police also never viewed the video. Department spokesperson Jennifer Cecilia told USA Today, because Hunt was not arrested and the woman he kicked did not appear to pursue a misdemeanor assault charge in municipal court, detectives didn't follow up on the video. That's a lot to take in, guys. And again, this is in the Kansas City Star. You could look it up all over Google by Brooke Pryor. But where do we start here? Okay, the NFL didn't go deeper into this investigation, didn't talk to him, and then I know a lot of you guys who listen to us all over the Mercado Airwaves Network, who listen to us on the Good Brothers podcast. I love the show Serial, the podcast Serial. The Cleveland judicial system is in its own messed up system, you know, the way the court system works over there. The Cleveland Police Department didn't think it was necessary to look at a video of an alleged assault? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look, I get police departments are stretched thin, and I get it. It's a tough job. Like, nobody's ever going to deny that. This looks like due diligence, though. This just seems like doing your job, and they didn't do it. So we come down to the scenario again where this story is being told 1,000,000 times. What if there was no video? No video surfaced. TMZ didn't spend a couple bucks that apparently the NFL can't do because it's trying to live within these laws that don't exist for these corporations, because TMZ is not going to get in trouble for it. So this video doesn't surface. Kareem Hunt never gets suspended. This girl is called a liar, a gold digger, a manipulator, a charlotte, somebody that's going to destroy this man's career, right? And she was telling the truth the entire time. Police didn't do anything about it. The NFL didn't do anything about it. The Kansas City Chiefs didn't do anything about it. Deniability is not innocent. Being dumb isn't innocent. Looking the other way isn't innocent. And then you're looking for credit for releasing him, for releasing a statement. The NFL and Kansas City Chiefs should be ashamed of themselves. You don't get credit for doing what you were supposed to do. This is a big problem. Let us know what you guys think about this whole scenario. Do you believe that he will be picked up? Who do you think will pick him up? And how do you feel about when you hear these stories about celebrities and getting in trouble with the law? Let us know all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mercado2333. Follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. And you can like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. I'm also on Instagram, Instagram.com/MikeMercado2333. We're also on YouTube, YouTube.com/MikeMercado2333. Download us anywhere you get your favorite podcast. Like, rate, review, and share it. It really helps us out at Mercado Airwaves. Get our interviews ad-free before anybody else with athletes and celebrities. Just visit us at Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Come play video games with us at Twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. And, of course, a huge thank you to Munch Art Design for powering us here at Mercado Airwaves. We got more here on Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado. What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
It's another day at the office. I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves.
You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex.
Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
There was also a lot of news on the field in the National Football League as Week 13 wraps up. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the scoreboard and then into the standings going into Week 14 as well. We start off with Thursday Night Football as the New Orleans Saints lose to the Dallas Cowboys 13-10, completely turning around the Dallas Cowboys season. Bears fall to the Giants 30-27 in overtime. Chase Daniel starting his second straight game as Mitchell Trubisky comes back from a shoulder injury, and we will talk a little bit about that game in just a second. Cardinals beat the Packers 20-17, and Mike McCarthy is fired after that. The Packers are now on the market for a new head coach. The Jaguars shut out the Colts 6-0. It was the Browns 13, the Texans 29. The Buccaneers beat the Carolina Panthers 24-17. It was the Dolphins 21, the Buffalo Bills 17. The Broncos beat the Bengals 24-10. Ravens 26, Falcons 16. It was the LA Rams 30, the Detroit Lions 16. The Rams wrapping up the NFC West division. It was the Chiefs 40, the Raiders 33, their first game since releasing Kareem Hunt. The Jets fall to the Titans 22-26. It was the Patriots over the Vikings 24-10 and dropping the Minnesota Vikings down in the standings, keeping the Bears game and a half division lead alive. The 49ers fall to the Seattle Seahawks 16-43. On Sunday Night Football, the LA Chargers come back to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 33-30. And on Monday Night Football, it was Washington 13, the Philadelphia Eagles 28. Looking forward to Week 14 in the NFL, starting off with Thursday Night Football. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. Then on Sunday, it is Carolina at Cleveland, the Ravens at Kansas City. It is Colts versus Texans, Patriots at the Dolphins, Giants at Washington, Saints at Tampa Bay. It is the Falcons at Green Bay, Jets at Bills, and in the late afternoon games, it is the Bengals versus the Chargers. Denver goes to San Francisco. It is Eagles versus Cowboys, Steelers versus Raiders, Lions versus Cardinals. And on Sunday Night Football, it is a matchup between two first-place teams as the LA Rams visit the Chicago Bears. And on Monday Night Football, it is the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks in a matchup with huge playoff implications. That is what the NFL looks at Week 14. And why don't we take a quick look at the standings as the season is coming to an end. In the AFC East, it is the Patriots at 9-3, the Miami Dolphins at 6-6, the Buffalo Bills at 4-8, and the New York Jets at 3-9. In the AFC West, it is the Kansas City Chiefs 10-2, the LA Chargers at 9-3, the Denver Broncos at 6-6, and the Oakland Raiders at 2-10. And I forgot to mention that the LA Chargers trying to keep their head above water as they are going without Melvin Gordon, who some reports are now saying that he might be back for Week 14 or possibly Week 15, so implications for both real and fantasy football. In the AFC North, we have a division that is just tightening up as the Baltimore Ravens have won 3 straight. It is the Steelers at 7-4-1, the Baltimore Ravens at 7-5, the Cincinnati Bengals at 5-7, and the Cleveland Browns at 4-7-1. That division's getting really tight. The Steelers are kind of on shaking ground right now, have losing 2 straight games. The Baltimore Ravens winning 3 straight, Lamar Jackson being a big spark for that offense. So it's going to be interesting to see, like always, the AFC North coming down to the wire. In the AFC South, it is the Texans at 9-3, the Indianapolis Colts at 6-6, the Tennessee Titans at 6-6, and the Jacksonville Jaguars at 4-8. That is your playoff picture in the AFC. Heading over to the NFC, it is the Dallas Cowboys at 7-5, the Philadelphia Eagles at 6-6, Washington at 6-6, and the New York Giants at 4-8. In the NFC West, it is the 11-1 Rams who wrapped up that division. You have the Seattle Seahawks at 7-5, trying to keep pace for their playoff hopes as a wild card team. You have the Arizona Cardinals at 3-9 and the San Francisco 49ers at 2-10. In the NFC South, it is New Orleans Saints at 10-2, Carolina Panthers at 6-6 after losing 4 straight games, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 5-7, and the Atlanta Falcons at 4-8. And in the NFC North, it is the Chicago Bears at 8-4, the Minnesota Vikings at 6-5-1, the Green Bay Packers at 4-7-1, and the Detroit Lions at 4-8.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
It's another day at the office. I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones,
Orlando, how you doing,
How
buddy?
you, sir? I'm good, brother. How you doing?
and all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves.
You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex.
Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
So looking into this past game between the Bears and the Giants, there's a lot you could take out of it if you're trying to really nitpick, but it kind of it's the same thing that happened this past Thanksgiving game against the Detroit Lions. You have to grade it on a curve because the starting quarterback isn't there. You know, Chase Daniel going 26 for 39, 285 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions, but the game was fluky. You know, in order for the Giants to win, they needed Odell Beckham to throw a 50-yard touchdown, and you have Tariq Cohen throwing a touchdown on the 1-yard line, and they're coming back, and you know, it was just it was a weird game. I guess there's a few things that you could take away from it. Yes, the defense gave up a lot of points, but I think that's a byproduct of being on the field a lot, and you know, and the thing is, even teams like the LA Rams, who a lot of people, you know, everybody loves Aaron Donald, and we know how good that defense is. But again, that's the thing. They give up a lot of points. You're going to give up a lot of points in the NFL, especially when you have, you know, stud talents that the Giants have, specifically with what they have with Barkley and Odell Beckham. I mean, Barkley goes, you know, 24 carries, 125 yards. Are you kidding me? Dude's a superstar. Even has 3 catches for 21 yards. You have Odell Beckham, who gets 3 receptions, 35 yards, but a touchdown. Also has a 49-yard touchdown throw. Very fluky game. Ogletree had an amazing interception, but he has 2 in the game. Very fluky game. Now, I understand people's worries because you kind of needed the win in order to make, you know, this matchup with the LA Rams mean a little less. You know, there's a lot of meaning to it in the hype factor, but I think 10-6 probably wins the division. But the one thing you want to avoid, if you're a Bears fan, is you want to avoid that last game against the Minnesota Vikings to mean anything. You want to have this thing wrapped up way before you get there. And no, you never want to look ahead, and you never want to guarantee a victory because that's how you end up again in a loss against the Giants. And credit to the team for coming back and for not calling it quits. And that's an easy game to just say, hey, you know what, we have our backup QB. We're giving up points. You know what? They want it more. We'll pack up and we'll be ready for the Rams. No, they stuck in there. They even got to overtime. It would have been nice to have gotten that win. It would have been nice to have blown out the Giants. And looking at their schedule, you have to, and not looking forward, you can't have that same mistake against the San Francisco 49ers because that's a game you have to win to get to that 10-6 mark. And then you got to win one of either Green Bay or LA in order to make sure that Minnesota game doesn't matter. Because even if the Vikings win out because of that tie with the Green Bay Packers, Bears are in at 10-6. So I think that's the thing that you got to keep an eye on. Jordan Howard getting 16 carries for 76 yards, but doesn't get. I think he only got like 5 touches in the second half. You know, and I'm not one of these guys who goes the old school way and it's like, oh, you have to run the ball 50-50 and it has to be this way or your team is just not going to win. It's like it doesn't work that way. You know, offenses are more creative. But I would like to see the man get a little bit more run. And speaking of run, how about that play with Akeem Hicks? Right on the goal line, getting a touchdown. You know, and of course, it just feeds into this city's ego with, you know, the fridge and that 85 Bears team. And I guess last thing you want to get into is obviously the Bears are a different team with Mitchell Trubisky out there. He's a different quarterback, though. Chase Daniel is a backup for a reason. You know, I think it was Lawrence Holmes who said here locally on WSCR 670 The Score and on NBC Sports Chicago, backups are backups for a reason. All you need is for your backup to go 500. And that's what happened. And you move forward. The wheels didn't fall off. You're still in it. You have control over your own destiny. Chase Daniel did what he was supposed to. Now, you need to hope that Jordan Howard is able to get this running game going when he gets the opportunity. You got to hope that Matt Nagy does it and implements it into his offense. You have to hope that offensive line steps up because it's probably the weakest point of this whole team. And then with Mitchell Trubisky, you just better hope that he doesn't get hurt running. And you can't take that away from his game because that's what he does. That's what makes him him. That's why they went up to get him, is that part of his athleticism to make something out of nothing. But let us know, what did you think about this Bears loss to the New York Giants, and what are you looking forward to for Bears versus Rams? We'll talk a little bit about it on the Good Brothers here on the Mercado Airwaves Network. Give us your thoughts. How did your favorite team do this week? How did your fantasy team doing? Are you in the fantasy playoffs, or are you going to have to suffer like me in one of my leagues, being the last place team? Let us know all over social media. I'm on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. I'm on Instagram, instagram.com/MikeMercado2333. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Download us anywhere you get your favorite podcast. Like, rate, review, and share us. It really helps us out at Mercado Airwaves. Get our interviews ad-free and before anybody else with athletes and celebrities. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We're also on Twitch, so come play video games with us at twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. And of course, a huge thank you to Munch Art Design for powering us here at the Mercado Airwaves Network. We wrap up shop next here on Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves.
You can see all of Nicole's work at typingwhentipsy.wordpress.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex.
Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, MikeMercado2333.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
Another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones,
Orlando, how you doing,
How are
buddy?
you, sir? I'm good, brother. How you doing?
and all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
Alrighty, friends, before we get up out of here for the week, let's close up with a couple of things. So this past weekend, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fought to a draw in a heavyweight matchup, and I thought it was an awesome fight. Obviously, you guys have seen the funny memes and gifs of Tyson Fury getting knocked out by Deontay Wilder in the 12th round and then literally rising up like The Undertaker in one of the craziest, most iconic moments that will live on in boxing forever. The knockdown itself, that crazy hands by Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber, one of the most feared hands in all of boxing easily. And Tyson Fury's grit and just the toughness of him getting back up. And so the first things first, is boxing corrupt? Absolutely. On certain levels, certain times, okay. Was this a draw? I think Tyson Fury was the better boxer that night. I think he probably won by points. I think Deontay Wilder did the most damage and had the most iconic moments of the fight. So I can see how if you were just judging it off that, you have no horse in the race, you could see that maybe it was a draw. And it's better for it to be a draw so that we do get the potential of a rematch. That we don't handcuff ourselves. We keep those zeros on their record and you're able to promote the next one. I think Tyson Fury won. And I'm a Deontay Wilder fan. I was rooting for Deontay Wilder. I think Tyson Fury won. I think we've learned a few things. I think we learned that Deontay Wilder is definitely not orthodox in the way he fights in these type of fights, especially we saw with Ortiz and now with Fury. When his back is against the wall, he does have that magic touch that he can save himself at any point. But he's not the best of boxers in a technical point. He's just the most dangerous heavyweight out there, period. Tyson Fury can beat anybody in that division. I think he could beat Anthony Joshua. I think he could beat Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder can beat Joshua because Joshua will play a certain game with Wilder. See, Tyson Fury, a lot of head movement, really hard to hit. You heard it throughout the broadcast. Joshua will entertain you. Joshua will throw some bows with you. Much bigger man than Deontay Wilder, too. Deontay Wilder only weighed about, 213? Shredded. Looks like a superhero. But, not the biggest of heavyweights. So, and the interesting thing is, the way this played itself out, Anthony Joshua, who is considered the guy, is on the outside looking in now. Because now we need Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury too. Just on the purpose of finding a winner. But, this was all about getting to Anthony Joshua. Now it's about the payday. It's about matching it. And it's about seeing where the pay-per-view buyouts were. But, great fight. Great fight, I thought. And you know what? This is coming off of Canelo Triple G 2. So, which was a great fight while, a lot of people had different opinions on the first one. Very strong way to end the year for boxing. I think they'll probably do it again next year. And I think, I would do it as early as, Cinco de Mayo. But maybe it's 4th of July. We'll see. But, let us know what you guys thought. Was it a draw? Did you have Deontay Wilder or did you have Tyson Fury in that heavyweight fight? Also, just coming down the ticker right now, breaking news, this hardly ever happens. Urban Meyer is to retire from the Ohio State Buckeyes after the Rose Bowl, and it looks like he will be replaced by offensive coordinator Ryan Day. Will take over on January 2nd. So some interesting stuff there. I mean, this whole Urban Meyer thing, it's crazy. It's what bothers me about Urban Meyer is we love to put coaches on a pedestal, and he's just a man. He's a good football coach, a great football coach. Probably should have done more in Ohio State, but while you're saying that, it's also true he does have health issues. Do I think the Fox broadcast probably overplayed it just a tad bit? Yeah, especially during that Michigan game. But he has had health issues before. He has had brain surgery. He's had heart conditions. This is something that is real. So not surprised that this was a thing that was going to happen, especially after, the coaching staff incident and the domestic violence issue he had within his coaching staff. So there's definitely a lot of interesting turnaround going to happen in Ohio State and moving forward in the Big Ten. So we'll keep our eyes onto that story as well. Also, Addison Russell was tendered by the Chicago Cubs. That doesn't officially make him part of the team. Nobody knows whether they'll keep him in the second half of the season. I think he's only suspended for the next 28 games because of it being retroactively, added on through what he served throughout the last half of the season. But It's funny because I was talking to some people about this, and the opinion is all over the place when it comes to Addison Russell. Some people think he should not be on the squad, period, end of story. Some people think that it is a joke, the way that Theo Epstein and the front office is trying to spin it. I'm not going to tell you how to feel one way or the other. The only thing I'll tell you is, don't blame, the victims or anything when it comes to these type of scenarios, but I'm not going to tell you how to feel, especially when it comes to a business decision. I get it. He's a young, good shortstop, and there's no guarantees that he'll do it again either, and maybe this was the one-time thing, and I could see where you could rationalize it. In a perfect scenario, no, he's not a Chicago Cub. It's not perfect world, and these type of things happen all the time when it comes to making the best business decision, not necessarily the best moral decision. So I think that's where we're at right now when it comes to the Addison Russell thing. And we'll play it by ear. I'm not going to jump on anybody's throat anymore. The high emotion of when it first happened is there, but as time is going on, play with the cool mind. And, I'll never support domestic violence, and I'll never look the other way when a victim says something. We'll look into it, we'll talk about it, and we'll see where things go. But at this point right now, the Cubs made a business decision. You hope that he is getting the counseling he needs. You hope he's amended the mistakes he's made and the decisions he's made, and you hope that the victim, Melissa, and her family and the kids have recovered and they're better off, and that they're able to move forward and get the best that they're able to get. So that's at least where I'm at with that. So some interesting stuff there as well. It looks like the hunt for Bryce Harper is going in full strength as teams are heading to Las Vegas to talk with the superstar, including Jim Thome for the Chicago White Sox. You have Magic Johnson going for the Dodgers, and a lot of people are talking about the Cubs are very interested in him as well. But I'm telling you, don't look out for the White Sox. I don't think they do it just for the optics to say that they were doing it. They would go this crazy into it. Does that mean they'll sign him? I don't know. But at least it's something really interesting to keep an eye out is, the sweepstakes for Bryce Harper is underway, and, we'll see how that plays out. And finally, it was a big day this past weekend for boxing, but it's also a huge weekend coming up for the UFC as UFC 231 takes over Toronto. It is Holloway versus Brian Ortega for the featherweight championship. It is also Valentina Shevchenko versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk for the women's flyweight title. You have Jimmy Manua versus Thiago Santos, Alex Oliveira versus Gunnar Nelson, Hakeem Dawodu versus Kyle Bunchniak. It should be a hell of a card. And if you actually go back on the archives, we've talked to Joanna Jędrzejczyk, we've talked to Jimmy Manua. You can listen to both our past interviews with both of them before their huge fights. So I'll make some quick picks right now. I'm a huge Max Holloway fan. One of my favorite fighters in the UFC. I think Brian Ortega is the most underrated fighter in the whole company. I think Brian Ortega becomes the new featherweight champion, and we get that awesome rematch between Max Holloway and Brian Ortega in Hawaii for the UFC featherweight championship down the road. I think between Shevchenko and Joanna, I think we go Valentina. She's bigger. I think this is her time. She's been looking for this type of moment and being moved to this card. I think Joanna's obviously one of the best champions to ever have done it. It was an awesome interview that we've had, but I have to go with Valentina on this one. And you know what? I guess we'll pick the last ones. I'll go Hakeem over Bunchniak. I'll go Alex Oliveira over Gunnar Nelson, and I'll go Jimmy Manua over Thiago Santos. It'll be nice to see Jimmy get a big win. But yes, I have Valentina Shevchenko becoming the women's flyweight champion, and I have Brian Ortega becoming the new featherweight champion, setting up Ortega Holloway 2 in Hawaii. That'll do it for us, though, on this episode of Sports from the Couch. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know, what are you looking forward to the most this sports weekend? I'm all over social media. You can follow me on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. I'm on Instagram, instagram.com/MikeMercado2333. Don't forget, you can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. You can also play video games with us at Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to us, youtube.com/Mike Mercado 2333. Download us anywhere you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Like, rate, review, and share us. It really helps us out. Like we mentioned earlier, if you would like to hear our interviews with Joanna or Jimmy Manua or any of our other interviews with UFC and Bellator MMA superstars or celebrities, just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have a tier just for you. A huge shout out to Munch Art Design for powering us here at the Mercado Airwaves Network. Give them a like on Facebook at Munch Art Design. And of course, thank you to each and every one of you. We will see you on the next episode of Sports from the Couch. Enjoy all the games. For everybody here at the Mercado Airwaves Network, I'm Mike Mercado.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
It's another day at the office. I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones,
Orlando, how you doing,
How are
buddy?
you, sir? I'm good, brother. How you doing?
and all the other interesting guests we've had on.
Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mike Mercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, Mike Mercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves.